what I want to do is to draw attention to this. Oh, crikey, look, there's another one there. There's two. But basically, I want to show you what it does, right? I'm going to zoom the camera at the ground and then back up and look at the cloud. Yeah? You see that reflective? That's got nothing to do with anything other than reflective. It is my supposition that at least part of this geoengineering is about reflecting light back off of the planet by manipulating the ionosphere. And basically the way you do that is by spraying these chemicals that then form bands of rain or change pressure in some way. I think it's more to do with pressure. Look, bear in mind I'm no scientist, guys. I'm just pointing out the obvious. But what is obvious is that these are always at 50,000 feet. They're never low. Yeah? Look, that is not a contrail, okay? That's not what contrails don't make clouds. Yeah? That's now a cloud. That was that 10, 15 minutes ago. So that is not a contrail. Show me anywhere on the planet where contrails do that. Look at that, man. I think that's where he's running out. I mean, look, I don't understand the science because I'm not a stratospheric scientist by nature, but this is going on all around the planet, most places. Just the amount of aeroplanes that you would need to do that, let alone the fact that you've got to fuel up the aeroplanes, then you've got to put all these chemicals in, and then you've got to organise it so that it doesn't get in the way of anything else. This is a massive undertaking. Now, some people still think that they're just making clouds. I don't think that's what they're doing. I think they're reflecting light back. I also, and this is where I'm going to go really quite deep, I also have this theory, this idea, that you can somehow manipulate these clouds to carry some kind of spiritual energy or energy. It's a kind of, I don't really understand if it's magnetic or how it works, but it can affect your moods. And I think the proof is in the pudding. I mean, trees are dying everywhere. It's drier than it's ever been. Our summers are hotter than they've ever been. You know, people still believe that global warming nonsense. It's just a big porky pie. So basically, I'm guessing that this has been going on a while, at least my lifetime. But I think the ionosphere is ill. And I think that's why we're getting more storms. And I think that's why the rain's heavier. Because at some level it's being manipulated. I can't prove it. All I can do is point out things like this and ask questions of things. But, you know, it strikes me that there are some people that would rather me and other people didn't talk about it. But I do believe there are also a group of people on planet Earth that do want people to talk about it and to realise what's going on. Because, mate, this happens every day. You know? Every day I come here and these trails turn into clouds. I mean, you see this one here with the ribbed effect. It's only scalar wave as in microwave energy, that could do that. It's like a ripple effect. And not just that, but you can see that cloud forming is at least 20, maybe 30,000 feet above the natural clouds that are forming around us just below. So I'm guessing, you know, I don't claim to be anything matter of fact. I just want to bring attention to something that needs talking about, really. I mean, is it natural to spray the sky with lots of aeroplanes? Is that normal? Typical, I can't see one now. I have noticed recently it does seem to be less, but when it happens, Sometimes there can be as many as 50 planes in the sky above and around me. 50 planes. Yeah, no, I know I live right next to Gatwick and Heathrow, but they only fly at 5,000 feet. They're not high altitude, they're coming into land or taking off. So that isn't it. Ah, there's one. But they're not following flight paths, because if it was a flight path, they would all be going roughly along the same area, but they're not. If you look, it's often making some kind of grid system. If you look, can you see that? Kind of like diamonds or pyramid shapes all across the sky. I mean, if you look there, there's 1, 2, 3, 4, and the 5th one now coming across. Yeah, so you can see stage 1 when they're dropping it. Here's stage 2 at the top, and here's stage 3 where it starts developing into a cloud. I mean, you know, look, you can see what it's doing. Now on a really weird day, it's almost like takes on a living organism feel to it. I mean, look at that. There's one bit of cloud behind it that's not moving, and that all seems to be moving in the same. It just doesn't make sense. It's like a mist that has an intelligence. And to be honest with you, I mean, this is going to be science that's a bit beyond a lot of people's scope. But going back to what I'm talking about with scalar wave energy, so if you did that across the entire planet, you would make it like, well, you would, I don't know how to put it really, but you could summon spirit energy, because it, you know, must have some effect on the nature around us, surely. I don't know, I'm clutching at straws, but there's something going on, because look, this is going on every day, right across the planet. And to me, when you stop and focus on that cloud, look at it. What's going on there? It's almost like it's moving along in a funneled kind of way. Yeah? I mean, I don't know. I just don't think the birds and whatnot are particularly liking all of this. Look at it. I mean, today isn't so bad. Some days, it's the entire sky looks like a painting. I mean, surely you can see that that's manufactured, can't you? Surely. And as I don't know fully what it does, I do know that to some point it's designed to reflect light back. Yeah, see that? Yeah, that's what it does. Yeah. It's amazing, it took me a while to work that out as well. So it somehow reflects light back out into space. Thus, I think the thinking is to cool an area or the planet overall, maybe. Maybe. I mean, you know, we've been talking about global warming for years. Maybe they don't want to talk about it. Or maybe they're just getting to the point where they want to talk about it because it's not working as well as it should. But you see how that's now, you see how the camera takes a minute to get rid of the haze. And if you look, that's right across the world. Everywhere you go. That isn't natural. Barium is one of the chemicals used. I can't remember what the others are, I apologise. I don't follow this as closely as I should, but I'm not a genetic scientist. There's another one appearing. So, yeah, I mean, you know, are we right to want some answers about what this is? I think so, really. Because one thing that is obvious, it's always high up. It's always 50,000 feet. These are high altitude deliveries. It's a high altitude delivery system. Now look, I don't want to kick it in and just say that all this is NASA, because that's not what I mean. But if you Google NASA patents, they're all on the internet. It's no secret. They call it geoengineering. They don't call it cloud seeding. But something's going on, and has been going on for a while. You know? So I don't want to demonize anyone. I mean, if you're trying to reflect light back, they're obviously doing that for a very profound reason, aren't they? I just don't understand why, A, there's a mystery about it, and then B, why most people get shot down by the powers that be for talking about it. Or they get told that they're a paranoid, delusional, what's the word, conspiracy theorist. Who invented the term conspiracy theory? The CIA, just after Roswell in 1952. That's who invented the term conspiracy theory. Clever stuff, eh? I mean, look, I don't want to get into that. And I'm not saying that it's all America either. I'm saying that something globally, I mean, all right, let's look at this another way. There must be 10,000 issues as a species that humanity's facing at the moment, yet we can't seem to manage to work together globally. Well, this says that that's not true. This says that at some level you can get organised and do things on a global level. So I suppose my question is, if you can do this, if you can organise and do this, why you can't organise and do things that would benefit everybody? I mean, this could potentially benefit everybody. If, as I suspect, it's an attempt to try and stop global warming, among other things. It's important to understand it's not just one thing. But look, going back, barium, right? That's just one of the chemicals I know. You can find out by testing your water pH levels. It's very easy. Collected rainwater. Try it. It'll shock you. The whole pH of the planet is out of balance now. I don't know whether that's because of this or whether that's a part of this, or I don't know. I can't prove any of this. All I can do is give an opinion and point out the facts that are in front of my eyes. You know, because I love this planet. I love nature. I love the birds. So, yeah, I want to see the best it possibly is. You see how much hazier that's got in the last 10 minutes? And that's how it builds up. You see how it's becoming more cloud-like. It's mad, isn't it? I mean, it's like a giant projection screen, basically. Now, one wonders if you could actually project things on this, i.e., I don't know, a UFO, a plane crash, I don't know, you know, use your head. Could you do that? I don't know. I know it sounds a bit far-fetched, but look, man, whether you believe or think that's far-fetched or not, this is extreme behaviour right here. All of this is extreme behaviour. Does anyone ask our permission? I mean, the patents, they exist online. There are literally around the planet, I don't know how many, but there must be hundreds of thousands of people, if not millions, who are employed and working on these things. So, you know, clearly mainstream hasn't caught up and acknowledged yet what this is. But I mean, most people think it's normal now to look up and see that, but let's be honest, that isn't normal, is it? That isn't normal. So this is a start. I intend to, it's quite a difficult thing to talk about because people think you're a crackpot. You know, I'm not worried about what people think of me. I have nothing to prove to anybody. I know who and what I am. But, you know, close to 50, you start looking at things in a different way. And I've watched this develop since I was a kid. I first started noticing when I was about 15 years old. They used to use just like the small jet planes back then, because they didn't have the big aeroplanes. And I still noticed them back then, although they weren't spraying the sky when I was a kid, but they were doing something. I don't know what. They were doing something, you could just tell. And now, in 2025. Wow, look at it. I mean, this isn't too bad here. You go out and have a look in whatever part of the world you are. Go and have a look right now and you'll see it's everywhere. What is it? And why? And who? You know, because let's be honest, if it's an intention to shine light back, even if the experiment is going slightly wrong, because the weather's getting crazier, we don't know, do we? You know, maybe it's a drastic action and you've got to do it. I don't know. I don't want to get into that. I just wish to draw attention to something that is a bit of a mystery, really. You know, and it's not conspiracy theory because I've just been stood here. Interestingly, I've been here 16 minutes. Do you notice how the planes have tended to stop? Normally it would just carry on if I was looking visually. I mean, crikey, look how much that's developed. That cloud, look at that, man. It wasn't there 5 minutes ago. And all the mistiness between this body of cloud and this here, it's mad. I suppose I'm trying to work it out myself. I mean, geoengineering is quite a fitting name, isn't it, really? Because it's some seriously heavyweight outcome, at the very least. But I think there's a spiritual aspect that nobody's talking about to it. It's a hard thing to prove. I suppose an example might be 9/11. If you did your research into 9/11, you would find out that on the morning of the attack, there was a massive Category 5 storm hurricane brewing out in the ocean just off the coast of New York. And immediately upon the attacks happening, the storm just turned right around, went the opposite direction and disappeared, vanished. Explain that. And look that up. If you look it up, if you look up 9/11 when it happened, a couple of 2-3 days before it happened, I'll go and have a look at the weather. I mean, it's not uncommon for weather to come from Bermuda anyway, that sort of area. But the way this happened, you could literally track it as if it was some kind of advanced warship, which is exactly what I think it was. But of course, the powers that be can't really talk about things like that. So, yes, I think something's definitely going on right in front of us, but behind the scenes. And I think that all of this is a part of it. And it's just trying to piece together the pieces. You know, I want to make it quite clear, I'm not doing this because I want to point a finger at anyone or accuse anyone of doing something. I don't understand why you would pour those kind of chemicals into the atmosphere, I'll be honest. But the reflecting light back out to space, there is sense in that. There's a lot of sense in that, actually. So, yes, but tying it to, you know, things like storms forming, well, obviously most people think I'm either making it up, doing it for attention, or just plain old mad. They all say this until the storm cloud comes above me, starts booming, and then they quietly disappear because they don't know how to explain it. And it's quite important to understand that I don't know how to explain it either, but I'm stuck living this life the way it is. So more recently I figured, why should I keep it all quiet? Maybe I'll start discussing a few things that aren't talked about much because, you know, let's be honest, people like the royal family can't come out and start talking about this sort of thing because, you know, they've got their public duties to do. So I'd like to think that I could ask a few questions on their behalf, and anybody else who's, you know, loves our planet, wants to see our planet prosper, wants to see our society be a success. I think it's all connected, I really do. Now this is interesting. You hear that aeroplane? That is a hypersonic missile. It's not even an aeroplane. A hypersonic missile, if you look them up, it's one of the secret government things they have. Missile aeroplanes that fly at about 12,000 miles an hour. Possibly much faster, I'm not sure. I'm always very vague with these things. But yeah, that's what that sound is. Just people don't know what they are. And the thing is, it'll be the other side of the horizon. It sounds like it's over there, but in truth, it's flying right over there somewhere out of sight. Because obviously 12,000 miles an hour is going to take a long while for the sound plume to catch up. It's mad, isn't it? The things that are going on in the world right in front of us, and we don't talk about it. Wireless energies, they don't talk about it at all. Yet it governs every aspect of our society. Look up Tesla. You know, he was one of the first to try and point this out. And look what they did to Tesla as well. So it's worth noting, that is. But, you know, I've already had my career destroyed by these things, so it's not going to do much harm in talking about it. Right, I'm going to stop here as an introduction into geoengineering and asking the questions why, what, and who.